channel. I hope you guys have been well. In this video, I'll be updating my Pan That palette for 2026, and I'm so excited to share with you guys what I was able to accomplish in the last month. I have made a ton of progress in this palette. It's kind of absolutely insane in the first month, so I'm super confident and excited that I should be able to finish this by the end of the year. We will see. But yeah, before we get into anything, hello, my name is Hannah, and I just love to project pan shop my stash and just use what I have. But I do like to kind of try new things every once in a while. I'm really trying to recover from being an extreme shopaholic, and I just want to also love my collection more. I would love it if you would consider maybe subscribing and joining the family. I'd love to have you here, and yeah, let's get right on into it. I'm so excited. First off, also, I just want to let you guys know my goals in the past month. I believe I said that I want to hit pan on some shades, but also use every shade 5 times. I have been able to do that and more in the past month, except for one shade, which I will share with you, that I was only able to use 3 times. The palette I'm trying to pan is the Mercury Retrograde palette by Huda Beauty. Hello, ring light. And my palette has finally broken into 2, which I was kind of already guessing was gonna happen. It actually happened while I was trying to do my eyeshadow palette declutter, because I know in my blush declutter, which is the last video that I posted, I said that the next video would be my eyeshadow declutter, but that's not true because I realized that you guys would probably see my Pan That palette. So I was like, well, then I gotta film an update, and it's already been about a month. This is what it's looking like right now. And I feel like if I tilt it a little bit, you guys can kind of see the dips a little bit better in there, hopefully. But I think that there's a lot of shiny pan in this palette already, which is absolutely insane. And I haven't gotten bored of it yet at all. I'm going to put some comparison photos in the top corner right there so that we can kind of see the difference between this month and the intro. So starting off in the top left, we have this shade Cosmic, which is this very like, I don't know, it's like a shiny light pink shade. And I used this shade 9 times and hit pan on it on the 6th use. So I'm really happy I was able to do that. I went really hard on this palette for the first 2 weeks because I wanted to see how much progress I could make and see how many pans I could hit. So this shade is pretty evenly used, I feel like. So yeah, I'm really happy with that. And the next shade is Utopia, which is the more corally orange shade. It's kind of grown on me a little bit now. At first I thought it was like too orange, but no, it's just like a really nice corally bright shade, so I kind of like it. But I wanted to try to hit pan and get used on all the warm tones in this palette because warm tones aren't my favorite, so I kind of want to get them out early, even though yes, they could be nice in the fall, but basically I even like wearing cool tones in the fall, as you guys know probably. I used the shade 9 times also, and I hit pan on it on the 5th use. How I hit pan is I kind of like poke the eyeshadow a little bit, so I kind of stab it and then swirl my brush, and that's kind of what helps me to get through the product more. And I also do tap off my brush to get any of the excess. So yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know that's how I hit pan so quickly. But I also do like to layer my eyeshadow pretty heavily, so yeah. And the next shade is Ultraviolet, which is the purpley shimmery shade with a really deep base to it. It's kind of like a duochrome purpley shade right there, but it has like a deeper gray blue base, I feel like. This is a really nice shade, however, I just haven't been feeling like reaching for it, so I only reached for this shade 3 times, and I already hit pan on it too, which is why I kind of didn't really focus on it this past month, which I'm totally fine with because I think during February I might reach for it more. And next is the shade Nebula, which is my favorite shade in the palette. Formula, not so much because it's so drying, but it's still really pretty. It's like a steely blue shade, like periwinkle kind of shade, or jean blue shade. I don't know how to describe it, but it's really pretty. I used this shade 5 times, I think. And I don't think I wrote down when I hit pan on it, so that's unfortunate, but maybe within the 3rd, 4th use. Next is the shade Mercury, and this is probably like the most hardest color for me to use, so I want to kind of get as much use out of it as I could as well. I used this shade 5 times and I hit pan on it on the 3rd use, so it's pretty recent, and I tried to use this as an eyeshadow also, which is kind of funny because I heard that Sophie Alexandra also used it as a nail polish, and it kind of worked but kind of didn't, so I don't think I would do that again. Next is the shade Haze, and this is like the bright tealy blue shade. I was kind of worried that this would be hard for me to use, however, I have used it a ton. I have used this shade 13 times and hit pan on it on the 11th use. So yeah, I did a lot of, I don't know, I try to use this as much as possible. I just really felt like using the blues and the greens, and it went really well with some other shadows that I was using. Next is the shade Off Balance, and this is probably one of the hardest pressed or just shades that I don't reach for as much. This is a very pinky shade, and I don't really like pinks on myself. I don't know, it's just never been a color that I gravitate towards. But it was nice, and I used it 6 times, and there is a very, very slight dip. It's kind of more like a general disturbance in the pan, so I don't know, but I'm a little bit worried that it might take a little bit longer than I want it to. However, I still think I'm confident about finishing it. Next is the shade Galaxy, and this is a really pretty champagne-y neutral shade. However, it is quite warm in my opinion. Like, if you can see, that's quite peachy in the undertone, so that's why I don't really like it too much. But now that I see that, maybe I can use it with Utopia, the coral shade, and then Karma down there. But anyway, I used the shade 9 times also, and I hit pan on it on the 5th use, so that's that. The pan is pretty focused, I think. It's not really anything crazy or impressive, so yeah, that's fine, but I'm enjoying it. It looks good with any kind of shade in this palette, so I'm really happy to have it in this palette. Next is the shade Libra, and it's like the lavendery pinky shade. I like this shade a bit. I just kind of used it as a general transition shade, often mixed with Crash, which is the next color, so you kind of see like very, very slight disturbance in this shade as well. I used this shade 9 times again in the past month. And then Crash again is that next shade. It's like a neutral warm brown, I feel like. Warm, cool brown. I don't know how to describe it. It's quite like neutral in tone, but it's a nice transition shade, which is what I use it for, so that's why there's such a little dip in there. I've used the shade 10 times as well. Next is the shade Momentum, which is the lid setting shade or the cream shade in this palette. I honestly feel like I didn't reach for this shade that much. I tend to just use my powder to set my eyeshadow primer, at least the edges, because I like to leave the lids tacky for makeup application. But yeah, there's that. And I only use this, oh, I'm sorry, I used Crash 11 times and I used Momentum, this shade, 10 times. I was looking at the wrong square on the back of my paper. Sorry about that, but anyway, that's what happened. And yeah, not really too much progress on this. I think I'll eventually use it up. I'm just not really in a rush to, but maybe I should try to focus on hitting some more pans in the matte shades this month. Next is the shade Supermoon. I've used this shade apparently only 8 times. I feel like it was more than that, and this shade also already had pan in it, and it's quite flattened out now, I feel like. Yeah, it's quite flattened out now, so probably shouldn't take too much longer to finish up, but I'm trying to keep it because I like having it in the palette. Next is the shade Vortex, and I think that this is the most impressive dip that I have of all my shades because I like to use a more fine pointed brush or a small packer brush to draw liner using the shade, or to blend out into the outer corner as a outer transition or outer corner shade. So this is a really nice like cool tone plummy purple shade, and I've used this shade 17 times. So yeah, that's a lot of times. I've basically used it every time I use this palette, so really happy to have it in here, and I hope I can finish it. Next is the shade Hot Mess. I am intimidated by this color, I'm not gonna lie. It is a very bright pinky shade, like it's very fuchsia-y, and I just feel like that's way too close to cranberry, so I just don't really like using it. But maybe as I start to use up shades in this palette, I can franken it to make something that I do like, and then keep some of it originally in here to, of course, use up. But yeah, I use this shade 9 times, and it's fine, just not my favorite. Really vibrant, so I don't know if I'll be able to finish it, but I'm going to try my best to maybe hit pan on it this month. I will talk about my goals further at the end of the video. Next is the shade Supernova, which is my least favorite shade in the palette, which is really funny because I know this is Sophie Alexandra's most favorite shade. It's a very warm, kind of coppery shade with like iridescent pink sparkle running through it. It is very pretty, it's just not my favorite, so I really tried to make it a goal to hit pan on this as soon as possible so that I can get it out as soon as possible. And so I used the shade, okay, I thought I used it more often. Maybe I stopped once I hit pan. I used this shade 5 times and I hit pan on the third use. So there's that, but hopefully we can get more use out of that shade. The next shade is Karma, and it's this more like toasty neutral shade, and it was fine, but definitely not my favorite. I used this shadow 14 times and I hit pan on it on the 13th use, and the dip is pretty strong in that one. I am looking forward to expanding that pan. And the next shade is the shade Gold Glitch, and I also hit pan on this shade this past month. I used it 15 times and hit pan on it on the 6th use, so I got really good use out of it. I really like using it with Haze, which is the green shade in the top right corner, and I also really like using it with most of the shades and most of the mattes in this palette, so it's very, very pretty. Next is the shade Frazzled. This is probably my most flaky shade out of the palette. I feel like it's very emollient, but also it breaks apart really easily, so I just had to keep pressing it down. And I use this shade a good bit, I think also because it's not my favorite. Again, all these warm tones on the bottom are just a little bit intimidating to me. But I used this 16 times and I hit pan on it on the 6th use. So there's that, and really, really happy with the progress in it. I feel like a lot of the product is used up in that shade. There's not too much left. So I'm really, really excited to see what happens with this palette and where it goes. That's kind of where my progress was in the last month. I feel like you guys can definitely see a lot of the dips in here, especially if I hold it up like this. So I'm thinking that because it is February, I'm going to focus on this side of the palette. I'm going to keep the goal, of course, of using each shade in this palette at least 5 times. I think I'm definitely going to exceed that number, but I think it's just, you know, a good thing to get me motivated, and it doesn't seem too hard at first. If I do reach for anything extra, I am going to try to reach for this side of the palette more often than not. And let's just see where this goes. I also think it'd be good to set a goal of side pan for some of these shades. So I think for all the shimmers in this palette that I have hit pan on already, which is all of them, I want to hit side pan. So that means basically if it hits the rim of the pan, that's what that is. And then for the mattes in here, I would just like to expand the pans and also try to hit pan on at least 3 more mattes, specifically these deeper ones here, because I'm really concerned that if I don't hit pan on them in February, I'm not going to finish them by the end of the year. So I really want to reach that goal, and I really want to do this palette justice and use it as much as I can. So that is the goal for this palette. And that is the end of the video, you guys. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this was really fun. I am so excited about this. I think you guys will be too. And again, thank you for your patience with me. It's just been a very busy time at the beginning of this year with classes and just applications to things. It's just been a whole hot mess. So anyway, though, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful night. Know that God loves you, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.